Today, I wanted to share a new idea that I had, which is to do on Fridays a 5-minute kind of download of information that I know about industrial automation, or even to bring people on with me to talk about it. So, earlier this week, I sent out a poll about what topic to talk about, and more than half of you would like to know why I think that Ignition is such a popular platform. So, to get started here, I'm going to talk about this for about 5 minutes, and I hope you enjoy. So, why is Ignition popular? What I think is that they had a very kind of different licensing model than what was available when they first started. So, um, when I first heard about Ignition, typically with SCADA systems, you would have a license for a server, which would be a certain number of tags or what you're going to connect to throughout your facility. And then you would also pay for the number of clients or HMI locations throughout your plant. And Ignition is basically their licensing model is to have unlimited licenses, so unlimited things you want to connect to, and excuse me, unlimited tags and then unlimited licenses for clients. So unlimited things to connect to and unlimited ways to then to see it. So I would say that the cost of entry is pretty low, and if you just want to try it, there is kind of just a baseline. I can get this started. Um, the other thing that's really nice is that there is no cost for the development licenses. And I think that also got a lot of buy-in with control system integrators when it first started as well. I can pretty much just download the Ignition server, I can connect to it, I can try it out for 2 hours, and I can then know that it's going to work. But past that, like once they started kind of getting that kind of original traction, I think that the real part of it as to why it's popular is the flexibility, dynamics, and kind of tools that that go along with Industry 4.0 or digital transformation that allows you to do it. So I would say that, like for Ignition, if you think, can I do it on this other platform? You can probably do it on Ignition. Typically, what I've seen with HMIs or SCADA, there's kind of these like weird quirks where it's like, I'm not sure if you can actually do this or not. Ignition allows you to pretty much add scripts or some type of expression to almost any object on the screen and like any tag. So there's probably a way to figure it out if you want to build it. And in order to figure out if you can do it, the training and knowledge sharing is very readily available through Ignition's website. If you're probably aware of, like, that you can get a free certification in it. And so, like, the fact that it can be done Ignition and then people know that you can do it has become kind of getting this rolling forward of that, like, people want to then use that platform. And then the last thing that I would say is um, just the modern type of concepts that people are trying to bring into facilities. It is very obvious how to do it in Ignition, and the tools are already there. So you can communicate to pretty much any industrial device. It's built on OPCUA, which is a pretty much open platform for created for communicating to different types of vendors. Um, there is Python is the scripting language that is built into Ignition, which is very easy to learn. It is extremely capable. Like almost anyone who knows a computing language probably knows Python, and you can bring in the extended capabilities of Python libraries into Ignition. Um, there is also connection to APIs, JSON. Those are all like very modern kind of tools that like general computer programming people would know. And there's a connection to all different types of databases. Um, so that's kind of like my thought as to why Ignition is a very popular platform. I personally really like it. I would say that like most cases, I would say to customers, you can probably just do it with Ignition. The only kind of like drawback that I have seen is that the If you just want to have a machine with an HMI, uh, it is kind of expensive to have like an entire ignition server on it unless you're doing like a lot of data collection, reporting, things like that. Then you kind of get that payback. There is Ignition Edge, but the kind of drawback there is that you have limited capabilities unless you're connecting it to an ignition server. So, overall, I think it's a great solution. I really like working with it. We're starting to do some ignition perspective projects as well with customers, which is their web application kind of way to connect to ignition tags. And it's a kind of a different platform if you don't know web development from like a CSS and HTML side. It's a kind of hard to ramp up on, but I think it's going to be a very powerful tool, especially as they start to develop a lot more of those capabilities. So I think I'm up with my 5 minutes. I see that Josh just commented to me, so thanks for saying hey. Thanks for joining. I hope this was a cool format for everyone. I definitely would like to have more topics that you'd like to hear about. And if anyone wants to join me for a 5 minute download of what they might know, please hit me up. And I hope to see you next week. Thanks. I'll talk to you soon.